Hello everyone. In today's video, we will be creating different variations of checkbox component. According to material design, checkboxes allow users to select one or more items from a list, meaning checkboxes can turn on an option or turn it off. Since there are many input methods to turn on an item like toggles, radio buttons. So the checkboxes are suitable where the user can select more than one option. For example, if you were asked what is your favorite food, so in good cases, in worst cases, you will have more than one favorite food. So you will need an option to select pizza, burger, biryani, all three of them from a long list of food. Here, Here I have found you some inspirations to show you the use. Um, this is Buddy app and it is showing some filters and you can see that they have a list of items and user can select quite a few of them or maybe all of them using this option, of course. This is Headspace. So they are letting you select up to three goals from a list of items, and here it is the selected state and here it is an inactive state because user has already selected three items from the given list. Then here we have a sign up a screen from a sign up flow where user has to set up uh, three user has to do three steps to complete the profile. And here we have added a checkbox to confirm that they have read the privacy policy, etc. So this is a very famous checkbox. You all must have seen it. This is from Coinbase. The screen is from Coinbase. This is from Cash App, and you can see there is quite a list of um, categories that you can select from. Then we have Skillshare. There is another use and another shape of checkbox. User can select more than one options and to select the interests. And here we have Headway. It lets you give the feedback, and when you select a chip, it gets a checkbox added to it. So yeah, this is how we will be using our checkboxes. Now, to create them, we will need three icons to start, of course. And the first one is this outline. So these are material design icons. You will just write checkbox empty, checkbox filled, and checkbox intermediate, and you will find all three of them. You can do, choose use them, or actually you can also do this thing, create it by default. Sorry, by scratch. Mhm. So I'm gonna use them as inspiration to create our uh, components. So let's do this. So this is a 24 sized frame. So I'm gonna bring my frame, which will be 24 by 24. So let's add it here. I'm gonna give it this same name, checkbox slash outline. Then so there are two ways you can go. Add a vector within this to this an extra one. So this vector within this frame, or you can actually create the checkbox of this frame. So I want to follow this material design icon creation guide, but you will find quite a few tutorials which just turn this frame into this bordered checkbox. So let's do this. Now I'm going to use a rectangle of 18 size and I'm going to align it in center. Um, I'm just I am just using this as inspiration for the sizes and everything for now. So here I am going to give it a roundness of 2 points because this looks similar. Then I'm going to add a stroke and use my color, and it will be two, the stroke will be of two size. I'm gonna remove the fill, and I'm going to make this go there, like select this rectangle one layer within this outline, and I'm going to make it like click flatten and going to name it vector. Awesome. Then I have to go here and apply the constraints of scale and scale. Now when I resize it by pressing shift, uh, the items within this screen get scaled accordingly. Now I'm gonna copy the same screen, duplicate it, place it under this next one, gonna give it this name. Now I need, oh, I shouldn't have flattened that. Okay, let's remove it and add a rectangle again. Place it in the center, give it a corner radius of 2. Now instead of stroke, I need to give it a fill, and then I need this checkbox that is, within this. So what I'm going to do is break this pen tool, and I am going to just estimatedly just zoom in and look at this. So 2 points away from this, approximately within the center of the like vertical center, we have started this, and from 2 points away, sorry, 4 points away from the bottom, I brought it at 90 degrees angle. This L has a 90-degree angle, but it is placed at 45-degree angles. If it is complicated to understand or visualize, you can just simply just do this. I'm approximately in the middle, 2 points away from here. I'm gonna press shift, click here and then press shift. Shift is to give it reasonable angle. Sorry, what are those angles called? So, there are some standard angles, fixed angles. I don't know what's the name of it. So, 30, 45, 60. So, if you press shift, it will allow you to have those standard angles instead of having, 61, 62 or random numbers. So, I'm going to go this long, approximately, yeah, this long. Yeah, click here, and then I'm going to click again somewhere around, I think this is a good spot. And then I'm going to press escape. Okay, here. Let's try this again because you guys couldn't see the color. I'm gonna remove this. I'm gonna press P. Yeah, now you should be able to see this again. Vertically center, maybe 3 points away because it will be a little far later. Then press here and then press here. I am doing this by pressing shift. Yeah, here. Honestly, it doesn't need to be very perfect when you start. No worries with that. If your this line, this vector corners are not rounded like this, you can go here and from no, not here, sorry. Here you can select this setup to be rounded from both ends. Otherwise, yours will probably look like this. And if your this corner is not round, those are the ends, and this is the other corner. So you can go here, and probably by default, your setting will be this one on the join. You need to connect the round one, and you can see what are the difference between all three of them. So you can select the rounded one. Now we have these two. I'm gonna select them, see if they are vertically, in the aligned and horizontally aligned. Now I'm going to select both of these two and then press. No, before that, I need to create a copy. I'm going to need a copy for intermediate. And now I'm going to press these two layers. My rectangle are my checkbox. before that, you need to confirm that your weight of your stroke is 2. If by default it is 1, you need to make it 2, because two sized for strokes are visible from 100% size. Uh, Anything below that is not really visible. 1.5 also works, by the way, but yeah, let's flatten this, and automatically it renamed it to vector by there is a situation. So if when I flattened it, this one is a stroke and this one is a fill. So I need to flatten this one first. Vector one, the checkbox, sorry, my tick, I need to flatten it first. Then I need to select be- these two and then flatten them. No, maybe flatten rectangle again. No, I need to get rid of this. So maybe let's try subtracting this. So I want to subtract the top layer from the bottom one. So let's subtract this and make one layer. Now I want to flatten it. Yes, awesome. Now I need to remove this tick and gonna bring, maybe we can use pen and for, or maybe we can use line. Let's use line for this intermediate setup. Make it 2. From here, I want this to be rounded, aligned in the center, away 3 points away from each other. Why this is not, I'll make it manually centered. So what happens is when you use a line, yeah, it is, it has some problems with alignment. I'm not going to go in those details, but if you probably would want to align it visually. So you see, this is 10 points away from the top and 8 points from the bottom, but visually it's in the center. So you might want to check that. Let's do the same. So this line is a stroke. Again, instead of doing the flat game again, I'm going to subtract it again. Then this subtraction, I'm going to make it, click flatten. Then I'm going to rename it to vector. Uh, Vectors, all three of them, they almost look same. There will be slight differences because, these are squarish looking icons, very sharp edges. So I made them rounded. Now we are going to turn this into a component. Perfect. Now I can get rid of these with the frames. Now I have my components that I can use. Now I am going to bring all three of them as uh, what do you say? As variants. And by the way, I need to make sure that my colors are applied. So yep. Now I need to make it is this. So default states are simple. They are like this. Now, can we use them directly? Actually, we can. At some places, they need some area like just gap spacing around them for to be in use. Let's look at this. So here, if we want to add a checkbox, it will just simply be this box, and I will replace it like this. So this is pretty good. If I make this whole section clickable, means user just checks it, and we are like, okay, uh, let's check it or uncheck it, because this is a very small area. This is a 24 sized icon. We don't want user to be confused when they clicked something and it wasn't clicked just because the area was too small. So yes, at these places we can definitely use them, but for the list like this, we probably need a bigger area that user can select in. And this is a list, so we're gonna do the other way and see what happens. So we need to first apply some colors. This by default should be probably this much gray. When this is checked, I want this to be blue. When this is intermediate, I want this to be blue. Awesome. Is it too dark? Yeah. No, this is good. Now, since these are very small, and one like the first thing that comes to mind is that let's try making them 48 directly. They look pretty weird. So anything that is icon, we shouldn't just directly make them big enough to cover the part about touch area. We sometimes we just need some padding around it. So I'm gonna apply Shift A to all of them, around all of them, and I am going to name them checkbox, and this is default checkbox. Oh no, this is yeah, let's call it checkbox default. Let's checkbox default for now. All three are default states for these. So when unchecked, this will be the look. This will look like this, or when checked, it will look like this. When it is, intermediate, half of the items under it are selected and half are not. We will call it this. So let's select all three of them and remove those paddings and just give it a fixed width. We can, for mobile, for designing for mobile, we can make it 48 by 48. But if you are making the component um, for web, you can try making it maybe 28 by 28 or 32 by 32. And yeah, it's your choice. For now, we will start with making with for mobile, and we need to align it in the center. Sorry, yeah. Sweet. This is the default state. We can try giving it a fill, but I don't want to do that because maybe sometimes I'm in a need where I need to place it on, let's say I'm talking about this situation. So this screen is 10%. If I place it here without background, it is good. But let's add a fill. Now, if I want to, or any section, it doesn't have to be full screen. So if like there are more than two background colors, so if the background color is like this, I'm gonna need a variation of this whole component for no reason, and I don't want to run in those situations. So let's not add a background for now. Okay, now I am going to make a copy here. So when this is a press state or hovered. Hover state is for web and press state is for mobile. For these lectures, I am handling them like make them look like each other. You can try exploring more variations into them. Uh, Pressed. So when it is pressed, I am going to bring an oval. Let's make it 56 by 56, and I am going to call it pressed. So you know what? We should have a separate default and hover state. Yeah, because they are totally different. So let's do this test. Just 1 minute. Sweet. Let's ignore it for now. For hovered, we probably want to change a little bit of color. Let's do this. Maybe make it more dark, and we can also let's select all of these and give it a roundness of maybe 8 or 4. It depends on how you are making your components. All of your all of your components have the radius of 4, like in the previous challenge, we made our text field 4. We can try 4, or if they are supposed to be whole circle, we can do that. But I'm gonna keep them 4. So on hover, I probably wanted to change its color a little bit. And now we ran into a situation where this had a fill. Totally forgot about this. So we're gonna remove that fill. Perfect. Now this can be slightly blue when hovered upon, and this can be slightly blue too. Yes. But now I am going to make a copy of this to create a press state. Now I'm bringing the press state circle back, Control X, and pasting it within it. Now in here I have my option to ignore auto layout. Gonna center align it, send it in the back, send it to back. You can do it by dragging the items to different, like if they are at the bottom, you need to drag it at the top, or the other way. It depends on the setting of auto layout from here. Like if the setting is last on the top, you will need the pressed circle on the top. And if it is first on the top, then you will need your pressed at the bottom like this. God. Yeah, like this. So right now, we are good. So what kind of color we should give it? So I'm gonna select and see what we can do. So here are quite few options we have with gray. We can try to make it a little darker than the background color. Like we have this fill. Hmm, it looks very ugly. I don't want that. So let's explore what color options we have. So we can try experimenting with the colors darken and lighter. It gets trickier at one point at another, because we will have a lot of components to play with. So what I have found useful is to just make it for grays, or like you have two options: either make it your darkest gray or make it white. So if the background is light, you can make this any, state, the press state. You can this make this circle darkest and then reduce the opacity to 5%. So if 5% works, it's good, or you can try 7%, or you can try 10% until you are, satisfied. 7% is actually good. Now I'm going to select this pressed state and bringing it here. It looks horrible. So maybe we want to try white. So like I said, we can either go all the way to the darkest gray, or we can have the lightest white. So if white, okay, white is not visible. Maybe we can try again the dark one. It doesn't look that bad. Maybe 5%. Hmm. How about, yeah, it's not working. The gray one is better. So you can have a press state, like it just adds to whatever color is in the background a few opacity, a few percent to it, and make it look darker. So if you want to make it lighter, you can do it too, but that will be happening in these cases. So let's say have to place something on this button. Definitely the dark black color is not working. So then we will try this white one. Now it is visible, and maybe we will try to make it 10%. So for darker colors, we can do white, and for lighter colors, we can do this. Now this same opacity will work here actually. Now I'm not sure if I want to clip its content. Maybe let's clip it content and move it to the side like this. So it is pressed. Yeah, it is much better. So we just need this circle to show that when user presses on it, this will be like, so developers know that this effect needs to be there. But what actually is going to happen is this. Look at this. I'm gonna make it darker for this example. So you for in your component will have a press state looking like this, but user might press it from here. Then this circle will appear here or here, wherever they press. So this is just that indicator that we need to have this type of indicator when user pressed, which is a circle that appears right below where it is pressed. So I think that I like this. Like instead of aligning this in center, we can place it at the side like this. Okay, it looks good. Now we have the selected state. Um, do we need the selected state? Let me just wait. I'm gonna go check. We don't need the selected state. So I'm just gonna remove that. So why don't we need the selected state is because when you are on this one, you are gonna hover over it in the laptop, and in mobile you are just gonna put your finger and press it, and then it is going to become this, and the same goes the other way. So this circle goes this way. So that's why there is no need for selected state. By the way, material design does have a selected state for this. uh, go check and read about more about it, but I think it will be smoother if we don't add that for this particular case. Okay, now we need a error state. For error state, meaning the checkbox, normally checkboxes don't have error states because they are you have to select from the give list of given options. But in complex platforms, we might run into situations where there is a combination of items you have to select. So if you have selected something and you go up on the top and uncheck or maybe change something, then the items you have selected at the bottom will be affected, and may some of them might turn wrong. So that's why we need that. I'm going to select all of these. No, not all of these. This will become my red color. This will become my red color again, and probably this too. I think we will never need this, but let's see. Let's make it and see what happens. We can remove the background actually from behind it. There is no need for this because it is the default state. So like this, default state don't have a background. We can have a separate hover state and a press state for errors. I don't want to go in those details for this video. Now we are in a disabled state version. I'm gonna make a copy of this. Disabled means it will be lighter, maybe this much lighter. Nah, this much lighter. And this will also be inactive, same gray color, this. Now I have the all of these ready, my components. I will be creating a whole set for them. Now we are seeing this conflict because I did not name them. Let's name them. So I will need 5 states and 3 types. So I'm gonna call this type, and I'm gonna create another property and call it state. I'm going to select all 3 of them, and state is default. It is good. Uh, select these 3 and gonna call them hover. Select these 3 and gonna call them pressed. Default error disabled. Sweet. Now I'm going to select this whole row and I'm going to call it unchecked. with the right spelling, of course. I am going to call it checked. Then I'm going to call it intermediate. Now, if I select the whole state, if I see that there is no error, and now we need to figure out how to use them. So I'm going to call it base component, and this is the full component. So I am going to just select this one because I know this will be needed here. Let's paste it to replace. Let's fix the color to maybe dark. So we have a checkbox here. Maybe by default it should be this color. Let's try both of the variations and see what's the difference. So if I use this, I definitely need to get rid of the spacing between it. Both of them are working. It just depends on how we want to use them. So if I use this as a component, that is best user experience, that user clicks on any of this area, then it will be good. But if I go to more detail, you will see there is this problem that user agreement, it is supposed to be an underlined item. Maybe it should also be like this. And then this should also be underlined item like this. Let's make it. Yes. Meaning if user clicks on this whole item anywhere, here, here, anywhere, there is a possibility he will touch this or this, which are separate links. So our best bet is to use this item, like this version of the checkbox. Now we probably want to move our checkbox. Yeah, let's not go in those details. Anyways, we figured out what item will be useful here. Now for this one, what we have to do. So let's analyze what this is. These are checkboxes, not sign up screens. So here we have a big list of recurring expenses, and some of the expenses are under it. Now, this you can select, like I have paid this bill, check it. I have paid this bill, check it. But when we do that, this will become intermediate. So by default, this needs to be all of these need to be um, these checkbox. So let's add that checkbox. And this needs to be definitely in this color. So I am going to select all these and replace them. This makes sense, of course, but when we have to understand the behavior, this layer has a height of 24 because if it is set to hug content. So I am going to zoom out to this, and you see all of these items are clickable. One thing we can do is to just simply add more padding and just make sure that and make them actually like full screen width like this. But when you are prototyping and handing it off to developer, they will read it as this long 24 height item, and this will be the only touchable area, and we don't want to make it this complicated. So let's make another version. So you can try actually this. I'm gonna make a copy of this and do this 1 minute, and then add another auto layout on this, and this is working fine. But the problem here what I'm seeing here is that only this is touchable, sorry, clickable, because this is the component that we made. But this is a mobile design, or even if it was a web design, this is a list. So if user selects from here, this should also be checked. And this checkbox can also be, it can come in this design too. So again, this whole item, this whole section, this needs to be clickable. So what we need to do now is we are in need of another component. So let's bring this one here. Then I am going to bring my, let's bring this text and give it appropriate color. Let's give it, like, by default, it should be not this much light here, this. So I am going to make a list item for the checkboxes. So what's the distance should be? 8. 8 is too tight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 12. I'm going to uh, select both of them and apply auto layout, and I'm going to call it check list item, because it will be one item. So here, now what I'm going to simply do it to give it a height of 40 or maybe 48, and I can give it a padding of 24. And what's the size of our screen? We can make it 390, or we can just make it this way that we can drag it to make bigger. I like to make it set at least one screen width and then make it responsive. So I'm going to do that. 390. So this is my first item that I just made. The When it is, hovered, or in the laptop, it will be hovered, and it will of course be not 48, maybe it will be 32, or 32 with smaller size, like in 20. We are not talking much about web design, but yeah, you need to consider the sizes there too. Let's make it default, and let's make this hover. I'm skipping hover. You know how hover is. Sorry, let's make hover too. So we have hover, and on hover, it changes the color a little bit. Now we can have a fill. By default, it is the color of the background, and then when it is hovered upon, it becomes a little darker. And then we have another version which is pressed, and I'm going to bring that circle here. I'm going to place it at the side and clip this content. Yeah, just to show that, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that this will be the press state. Sweet. So we have three states that we have made for the default behavior. Like for this checkbox, we can also try to make another state, or apply. Let's see like what we run into actually. So let's make this component. Sweet. We have this property which has quite a few of like three states. Actually, we need more state. One more state which is disabled. Mm, disabled. So disabled state will be not having not will not have this. Also, all of these four need to have some roundness. Hmm. What else? It doesn't look very inactive. Now it looks inactive. Maybe if even if we change the background color. No, that was better. So this is good. Now I can use this item, and I'm gonna replace it like this. So what I did is I added 24 padding there. That's why I will just simply need to like make this section end to end. That so this alignment works automatically with margins. These red lines are showing the excluded margin. Now if I duplicate it, I'm into like I run to into the issue that I need to change this name. So let's apply that label property, label property. Sweet. Now I can select this layer and just type this internet, mobile and gas bill, mobile and sorry, gas bill. Awesome. So we have our list ready. Now, what are the problems that we are seeing? What if I quickly want to change this? There is no option to make it selected. There has to be different setup. So even if I apply the property like this property of filled here, it doesn't look very selected. So let's go back to this example and see how differentiated these elements are. This is a different type of list, but still there is a huge difference between selected items and unselected. This is the simplest thing that we can do. Make the items the selected items checkbox can be colored, and yeah, let's see what we can do. So I want to create a whole bunch of selected states. No, before creating that, I keep forgetting, I need to add a variant, and I'm gonna call it mm, selected. Let's call it selected, and by default it's a no, but here it will be yes. Now when it is selected, meaning all four of them, disabled can also have a selected state, means you can't just uncheck it. So let's make it filled. You see, this is from another set of components, so we can just simply select it and update this. And now I want this like its color to be blue. Then I want the filled state to have a background of blue, maybe this blue, again this blue, and I'll probably want to make it I also want to make these blue. Okay. Now I'm going to make this one lighter blue. This looks horrible. We probably want to keep the disabled state in the same color. I'm gonna select 500 again. 500. Yeah, this is better. Maybe just keep the state same. It's just the icon will be selected. Sweet. Now, assuming we are like when we let's prototype it to see what the actual use case is. Actually, let's fix this first. We want more padding, spacing. We want the size to be 40, and then we want this list to be a little away here from this. Maybe add 24 padding and align it like this. Hmm. No, I'm not satisfied. Sweet. Yeah. Now we probably want one more detail. So I'm going to select this and add 24 points to the left to make actually more than 24, 32. So this is like this looks like a heading and this looks like a subsection. Also, the color needs to be updated. So this needs to be 600. Awesome. Now let's prototype this. Checkboxes. So checkboxes. So what's gonna happen? I'm gonna start here and here. Yeah, I messed up. Let's give it a fill. Now someone just selects this or by by tapping on it. Let's play this. Yep. They are gonna select here. And when they do, yeah, I missed one more detail. So here we should, when it is pressed, it should become this. Pressed. When this is pressed, this should become this. And yeah, let's see. Now when it is clicked, this should become uh, selected. Let's see what happens. Yeah, when this is pressed, sweet, this is good. I This is not giving good effect, so maybe we need to add more padding to the right. So I'm gonna expand it and add plus 32 here instead of overriding the component. Now the whole line is selected. This is better. Awesome. So we have this. Now what happens to this one? When you have a whole bunch of items within this section, this should become this. Yeah, not in this color, maybe in blue color. Here I'm not using any component. I did not create a separate list component for the heading because the heading was bigger and it provides a big touch area anyways. The problem was the list below, but yeah, it will be like in a longer run, it will be a good idea to have a component for this separately, especially if your filters have a lot of sections. But for this video, we are good here. So look at this again. So if you do this, this should be selected and this list now became something that you can like this, which has some items selected and some are not. So this is how we ran into the situation where we needed three type of components to work with checkboxes. And also, honestly, let me quickly tell you, we can run into one more situation, which I won't go into a lot of details, but let's say look at this screen of login, and sometimes there are more than one checkboxes required. Not a good practice, but let's say you are in need, so you can probably have something like remember me. That's one way. Or even when you are checking out from using your card, you might need something like a shorter set of a checkbox with shorter copy. You can have this type of component. So either this kind of component where there is a checkbox and there is one text, or you can have this type of something like which has a heading and a supporting text of one or two lines. Let's copy this one. So let's something like this, and this will definitely be then bold, and this will definitely be smaller. And yeah, we sometimes need these kind of components, so you can create a component like this, just the way we created above. Like this will have simply one state, then this will have a selected state like this. So we create this, then when this becomes selected, we just simply fill it and give it a color, and we do the same here, and then so on. So you can also run into this type of elements. You can use checkboxes at different places, so you will need a variety of components. So feel free to explore, and best of luck.